When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite, obey your thirst.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, a holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
Welcome to the Dr. Raj podcast with Dr. Raj Dasgupta, a show all about educating patients, students, and aspiring doctors about better patient care. Dr. Raj is a quadruple board-certified physician and associate professor at the University of Southern California. He was a co-host of the TNT series Chasing the Cure with Ann Curry, as well as a regular on the TV show The Doctors. And now, here's our show.
Hi, and welcome to the Dr. Raj podcast. And what is this a podcast of? A podcast of happiness and wellness, great stories, amazing people, and one of my passions has to be awareness. And there are just so many disease states out there that need help, that need to raise awareness for. So this one kind of crossed my desk and I'm like, wait a minute, I need awareness about this. And I read more and more about it. I became super passionate about it. So I got two guests that actually conquered, survived, and is now actually promoting awareness about this disease state called breast implant illness. So before, the routine, everyone who listens to my podcast, before I introduce, I got to read the bios, but I wanted to do a little medical something to explain what this breast implant illness is. It's a complex and underreported condition that affects individuals who have undergone breast augmentation procedures. The symptoms can vary and may include fatigue, joint pain, cognitive difficulties, skin problems, and more. As more people become aware of this issue, the demand for information and support has increased. The No Double Bogies Foundation is at the forefront of raising awareness and providing guidance to those affected by BII, as well as supporting them in their decision-making process. So my guest today is Ashley Penner, the founder of the No Double Bogies Foundation, and Robyn Towt, speaker at the No Double Bogies Celebrity Golf Tournament and co-founder of the Global Patient Advocacy Coalition. Both personally affected by breast implant illness have shown exceptional dedication and commitment to the cause of educating and supporting women facing similar challenges. In regards to their personal stories, Ashley and Robyn have experienced breast implant illness firsthand and have undergone explant surgery. Their personal journeys and the impact on their lives are both inspirational and educational. Ashley Penner is a children's golf instructor and a breast implant illness patient herself, has channeled her painful experience into a profound purpose by offering help and support to others. Her journey and her vision for the No Double Bogies Foundation have been inspirational and impactful. Ashley's story is not only one of personal triumph, but also a testament to the power of community and education in dealing with the adverse effects of breast implants. Robyn Towt's presence at the event was equally significant. As a 3-time cancer survivor, breast implant illness survivor, and a patient advocate for the Global Patient Advocacy Coalition, Robyn has been at the forefront of the fight to raise awareness about breast implant illness and related issues. Her advocacy has emphasized the importance of informed consent and the need for manufacturers to take responsibility for updating labeling and potential side effects, which is currently lacking. Robyn's perspective adds a vital dimension to the discussion surrounding breast implants. And with that being said, hello, Ashley and Robyn, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Raj. It's great to be here.
Totally. So I did my research on both of you. You two women are just awesome and great interviewers. So I'm going to try to be a good host. What I'm going to do is kind of alternate questions and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Cool. Ashley, you're up. So your question is, why did you start the No Double Bogies Foundation?
So I started the No Double Bogies Foundation because I want to build a gap or a bridge for people who were sick with implants and needed treatment and couldn't get it. That's where I kind of found myself. And I literally didn't think I would be alive to host the first golf tournament that we did. So this was the last thing I was going to do, is to bring awareness and help other women explant.
Robyn, how did you know? We're going to medical because I know you love the medical. How did you know you had breast implant illness? I mean, the symptoms seem so vague sometimes. I mean, how did you piece it all together?
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, I actually felt great before I knew that I had breast cancer. I was a very active middle-aged woman. I was walking 5 to 7 miles a day, keeping up with 2 teenagers. Life was good. And for my breast cancer, I didn't have any treatment at all except for surgery. So there was no reason for me to be so systemically ill with a host of symptoms that were just unexplainable. And none of my doctors told me that this could happen. So, it was just process of elimination, basically. And other breast cancer patients, that I had talked to, they had symptoms that were similar, but they were blaming it on chemo or radiation. And I'm sitting here going, I didn't do chemo, didn't do radiation. I'm not taking hormone blockers. Why am I so sick? I felt like I was doing chemo. I mean, it was horrifying how quickly my health took a toll. I only had my breast implants in for 4 months.
Oh my God. Now, Robyn, let me throw an audible out here. So you were a healthy woman before this diagnosis. And how did they find it? Was it just you're doing your screening and you found it on screening?
Yep. I was doing my annual mammogram. I started at age 35 because I had a prior cancer history and radiation treatment.
Okay.
They wanted me to get my baseline mammogram at 35 and then starting at age 40 every year after that. So I just actually caught it on a routine mammogram.
Okay. And was it a single mastectomy or double mastectomy?
I chose to have a double because 2 years previously, before my breast cancer diagnosis, I had a suspicious mammogram. So I had a biopsy. It was benign, but I kind of felt like because of my radiation history, I was a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't want to go through any of this again. So I was like, just take them both. And it was an aggressive surgery for the tumor size that I had. I had a very tiny tumor, no lymph node involvement.
Sure.
So to do a double mastectomy was a pretty radical treatment.
Yeah.
But that's the way I wanted it. I chose that because I wanted to be done. I didn't want to drag out this breast cancer experience. I didn't have time for that. I just wanted to go live my life.
So one last medical, because now you got me all kind of into this. Did you have one of those like BRCA mutations in your family? Was that the way it was? Or do you have a mutation that needs to be raised for awareness? Or
I didn't have any mutations. The doctors are pretty convinced that my breast cancer was caused from the radiation treatment that I had for my lymphoma.
Gotcha. Okay. Now we're going to go back to Ashley. How did you know you had an issue with your implants, and what was your story behind the implant to begin with?
Well, it took me a long time to figure out it was my breast implants after going to like 3 specialists of each kind, right? And then I had this itching that led to bruising on my legs after 3 years. It looked like I got the crap beat out of me. And it always sat in the back of my mind, like, that's not normal. I went to the doctors. They thought I had leukemia, came back normal. 3 years go on, and I have an excessive amount of issues and symptoms with like from drop foot and digestive. My face was on fire. And then it was interesting. I was in Palm Springs and silicone was coming out of my nipple because it was burning. And this is like, I have people that were there. And so I was like, this is really weird. My breast is on fire and I don't know what's going on. So fast forward, I'm in this Facebook group that has like over 200,000 women with issues. And this girl had posted a picture of itching that led to bruising. And so I messaged her and I said, do you have silicone breast implants? And she's 33, lives in South Carolina, has 3 kids. We became really good friends. We put all our symptoms together. And I explanted, from meeting her, I explanted 3 months later. Wow. And she actually, I was trying to raise money for her for the tournament. So I was like, I don't leave anyone behind. she had an emergency explant the day of my tournament. It was in the hospital for 2 days and it was awful. So,
Wow.
but she got hers out too. So,
Great.
A girl from South Carolina saved my life.
So let me do a couple of audible questions with you. So you saw a bunch of doctors, like list them out. Who was part of the figure out what's wrong with me? Was a rheumatologist involved? Was a hematologist involved?
I saw 3 rheumatologists,
Oh my God.
3 neurologists, 3 in internal medicine, endocrinologist. I mean, every specialist you had, I went and saw it. I'm kind of like a person who wants to figure things out. I mean,
Of course.
and I went to the emergency room like 3 times thinking I was dying. I said goodbye to my mother. I'll see you in heaven kind of thing. And
Yeah.
nobody ever said it's your breast implants.
Yeah. I never want to put myself in their shoes. It's just, when you see it, hindsight's all 2020, like, oh, obviously, you know what I mean? But wow, that's a lot of doctors. Obvious question. Did the implants break or leak? And that's how you're getting the discharge? Or can you explain that?
No, so what happens is there's a gel bleed that happens as soon as you get them, right? It heats up at 98 degrees. I'm also a golf instructor, so I'm in the sun a lot, right? So
Yeah.
it actually like heats up. And there was actually one infectious disease doctor that told me, he goes, of course, you're heating plastic up in your body, right? He was the only one who said, like, this is after a
Sure.
time, of course, they're going to heat up and do that. And I mean, it literally, my belly button was bleeding and like stuff was coming out of there. It was just, I would get sores on my lips. And it's even after explant, I could feel silicone coming out of my arms. Like it was sticky. And I'm an athlete. I know what sweat feels like. And that was not sweat. So my mom's a nurse. So trust me. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes.
Yay, mom. And maybe that's why we get along well. My mom's a nurse too, retired. So
Yeah.
awesome. Robyn, so this is a great question, this back and forth thing. So why do you think most medical professionals are unaware of the harmful effects of breast implants?
Well, I have done a lot of work both with the FDA and the plastic surgeon societies here in the United States. And I can tell you that it's been a very well kept secret. And I've been advocating since 2017. I've had multiple meetings with the FDA, formally asked them several times to issue a healthcare provider letter to alert all medical professionals about this so that women just like Ashley don't have to go to 10 different practitioners, 20 different practitioners, 47 different practitioners. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of doctors that these women have seen and the tens of thousands of dollars that they've spent. I asked the FDA for an official statement on why they have not alerted the medical community.
Yeah.
And their response, and I have the email to prove it,
Okay.
is that they felt they're doing a good job of raising awareness about this.
Hmm.
And they had 50,000 views on their YouTube channel, 50,500 views on their website, and they sent out 220,000 email notifications to people who subscribe, like me, because I'm a junkie and I want to know all the recalls and stuff. So I'm sitting there, adding it up, doing girl math, I guess. And, so it's about 320,000 people that they reached. And I went and did a search and found, there's over 1 million licensed active medical physicians in our country that are practicing currently. And there's 3.8 million nurses. So 4.8 million medical professionals, just doctors and nurses. So we're not talking about like massage therapists, microneedling specialists. So I'm like, okay, that's almost 4 million medical professionals and actually almost 5 million. And they've only reached 320,000 people.
It comes down to the numbers. Wow.
It's staggering.
It is really staggering. All right, Ashley, let me ask you this. Why did you get the breast implants to begin with? And what was your biggest regret from getting those breast implants?
Okay. So I actually won mine in a draw, like a carnival. I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay.
A raffle. She won a raffle.
Okay. Keep on going. Keep on going.
So I left my office because I got this email from this place in Newport said you could have a chance to win breast implants. And I was like, oh, why not? Right. So my ADD kicks in. I tell my boss I'm going to go win boobs. And I literally sit through this luncheon. And at the end, he pulls my name. I had a feeling he was going to too. And he's like, you win boobs. And I was like, what? And I was so excited. I called my mom. I'm like, okay, like I'm an athlete. I don't really care for him that much, but I got Newport. Everyone's having them, right? So anyways, I was worried about my golf swing and I went in for my pre-op, and the only thing he said to me is, "You don't have boobs, Tuesday, bada bing, bada boom." And that's exactly what happened. It was a big kaboom. And so the biggest regret I
Yeah.
have getting them is how much time and like the illness. I'm still recovering. I'm like a year and 7 months post-op, and it's just ongoing issues. You don't just get them out and you're a miracle, you're better. Your body's going to take time to adjust, to the trauma that was caused by that, and the relationships that got stressed because of it. So I really wish I never left the office that day. And I also wish I would have been told some of the
Yeah.
complications. I would never have got them.
So, Robyn, I'm gonna give you another medical one. All right. So I did my research. So a lot of the medical studies have shown that, breast implants have been associated with multiple cancers, rare diseases, autoimmune symptoms. What are the most common complaints that patients, and you've spoken to many patients, are experiencing from breast implants?
The most common symptoms, and the FDA has this on their website, and I think the plastic surgeon societies all agree. The biggest ones are like fatigue, joint pain. And when we say joint pain, I mean, a lot of the women can't even walk. Like their joints are so stiff and swollen and painful. Hair loss, skin and hair issues, thyroid malfunction, sleep disturbances, gut issues are really big with women that have BII. And it's so interesting because so many of us have spent, I didn't, but like Ashley did, and so many other women spend years trying to find the root cause of what's going on in their body. And then we meet these other women who are going through the same thing. And it's almost like you find a life preserver in this sea of mayhem, right? That's going on in your body. So it is very eye-opening to talk to literally hundreds of other women that have gone through the exact same symptoms that we've gone through. So those are the most common for sure.
So let me ask you and Ashley, did any of you have a history of autoimmune disease in your family prior to this?
No.
And let me ask you on the spot. So if you knew a friend or someone's asking their opinion and they have a history of maybe Hashimoto's thyroiditis or they have lupus or whatever, would that be just a full stop? No, don't go this route if you have autoimmune disease. Do you folks feel the same about this?
Absolutely. It even states in the manufacturer's literature to talk to your doctor if you have any kind of underlying autoimmune disease or family history.
Is this something new that the FDA put on the labeling?
No, it's been there. It's just patients aren't getting the information. The doctors are choosing not to give it to them. Manufacturers are choosing not to give it to the doctors. But yeah, I mean, my booklet, I think, was written in 2012, and it's in there. So they've known all of this. They have known about the cancers since the early 1990s, but they just chose to wait until 2011 to talk about ALCL. They chose to wait until last year, 2022, to talk about squamous cell carcinoma that forms in the breast implant capsule, T-cell lymphoma, B-cell lymphoma. MD Anderson came out with their largest study ever done on breast implants showing a higher rate of melanoma in women with breast implants.
Have any of you two had like hair loss and alopecia from the breast implant? Yes.
Yeah.
I had 2 bald spots at the top of my head, and I lost about half of my eyelashes.
No kidding. What about you, Ashley?
I lost my eyelashes, and that's kind of what I was known for growing up. I had really long ones. And then
Sure.
my eyebrows, and I actually have hair extensions in now because I'm still having like,
God.
yeah, I lost a lot of hair.
And what about joint pain? So my wife's a rheumatologist, so I always like to put some rheum things in there. Did you guys have like the morning stiffness? Was your joint pain symmetrical, or was it just like one knee and one elbow? Can both of you guys answer that?
Yeah, my leg got so stiff, I couldn't, like, it was really hard to press the pedal when I was driving. And so I remember being at Temecula at my cousin's and I couldn't leave because my leg was so stiff and my knees were hurting so bad. But it's just a really weird feeling to like, not like my foot wasn't working. It felt like it was dead weight, and then had neuropathy from my knees down on top of that. So it was really bizarre.
Like Robyn?
Yeah, I mean, I went from walking 5 to 7 miles a day easily for, 15, 20 years. That was my normal routine. And I just couldn't, I tried to go for a walk one day, and luckily my husband works from home, and I was a half a block from my house, and I had to call him. I called him crying because I literally could not take a single step more. I was just in pain. I was fatigued. I felt like I was going to pass out. And mine was just all over, just body fatigue and soreness and pain. But it is interesting because since your wife's a rheumatologist, it's interesting that sometimes if a woman has a rupture on one side, she will get just, unilateral pain. And I always find that really interesting. Or a rash, but only on one side.
Wow.
Hearing loss on one side. So it is interesting to listen to women's stories and say, well, I explanted, they didn't think I had a rupture, but one of them was ruptured. And that's the side I was having all the problems.
It's crazy. Let's talk about the foundation. So this is an Ashley question. So how would you help women with this foundation? Tell me, Ashley.
Well, when we fundraise enough money, because explants are ranging from 16,000 to 25,000.
Oh my God. I didn't even know that. Let me ask you just audible question out of nowhere. Are insurance covering this kind of stuff? Can people afford this kind of stuff?
No. I mean, I get emails and letters, emails and the messages from girls like, saying I have this, I need help, I need for money. And once we get there, I can't wait to hand it out to women because that was like the one thing I didn't have. I'd spent all my savings trying to figure out what was wrong. And then I didn't have money to take them out. So it was like I was a prisoner in my own body, threw it up on a credit card and saved my life. So I want to be able to be helpful, like a resource for them. And especially with treatment too. We've teamed up with some holistic doctors and naturopaths that have donated, which I'm going to give out to women because that also is expensive and not covered by insurance. So you're kind of in this situation of, I want to get better and heal and you don't have the finances and it's a huge burden not to.
Well, why golf, by the way, as the conduit? You're from Canada. Why not hockey? You know what I mean?
Maybe that's next. But, well, I've been teaching kids for like 14 years and I raised money for 10 years at celebrity events. And I just, this is the only tool and vehicle I know. Mm-hmm. And so, after I had the explant, I threw the tournament within 3 months and we raised money. It was my first time ever doing an adult tournament because I've done children's one, but it's also such a big sport that you can go all over with it and run these tournaments. And so I kind of saw a vision of that and having, the No Double Bogies tournaments and all over America and Canada because women, they want us to come there. So
how's Robyn? Is she good?
I do golf, but I haven't golfed with Ashley because I'm scared because I heard she's like better than all the men even. So
they're true.
I am not at that level, but I do love to golf. I love to be outside. I don't keep score. But no, I really enjoy helping out with the tournament and just talking to the golfers. We've done it 2 years in a row now. And I'm so happy to be a participant because not only have I met amazing, generous, and kind people, but it feels so good to be able to share the news and the information with them because everybody knows somebody who either has breast implants, who wants to get them, or maybe who's a breast cancer patient. So it's just really the lack of knowledge is out there and we're just trying to kind of raise awareness and make sure everybody knows. And we even kind of dove into other medical devices. We had a lot of men on the course golfing and I had a guy that we were talking about hernias. And I said, he needed hernia surgery. And I said, please tell your doctor not to use mesh. I'm seeing so many people that are having complications with mesh, and especially tell your wife as a rheumatologist and all of her colleagues, these complications are systemic and people are having such a hard time with these devices. And I'm so happy. He ended up going in for surgery and he told his doctor, I don't want mesh. And the doctor's like, well, I might have to use it if that's the best way to go. He made the doctor sign a disclosure saying, if I open up this patient and he's under anesthesia and I find it's in the patient's best interest to use mesh, I will close him up so he can go find a doctor to do.
Wow. What a story.
And he made him sign that. And I was like, so I'm like,
you gotta take ownership. You gotta take ownership.
Absolutely.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just
speaking into the void?
But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video.
Brilliant, just brilliant.
This week, the West Coast action heats up when the Rams meet the Seahawks in a huge divisional showdown. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. And don't miss the Broncos and Chiefs on Christmas night. It's Thursday Night Football, only on Prime Video. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
All right, I'm going to give you a couple questions before I go back to Ashley. This one I like all of them, but this one, after being banned from the market over 10 years ago in the 1990s, how did silicone breast implants get approved by the FDA, Robyn? Can you answer that?
I've gone back and actually read every single page of transcripts from all of those FDA meetings because I wanted to know that exact question. Whose genius idea was it to put these back on the market after knowing, how sick they made so many women?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is the manufacturers were very crafty in their marketing and kind of what they put in front of the FDA. We changed the formula. We make it so the implants aren't going to rupture as easily. And if they do rupture, the gel isn't going to spill out, in a liquid form. And so they kind of sold it as a new and improved product. So at the end of the day, here we are 30 years later, and there's nothing new and improved about it. I mean, they may have changed the formula to make them a little more cohesive, but still the same chemicals, causing still the exact same problems as they were in the 90s when they were banned.
Yeah. So let's kind of just build on that a little bit because it kind of leads to my next question. Why did the FDA kind of fail to hold manufacturers accountable for breast implant safety awareness, which you women are all about, and proper informed consent for patient? Why?
Well, informed consent is truly up to the physician. And a lot of people get angry at the FDA about all of this, but we have to remember the FDA's role, and I don't typically defend them, but the FDA regulates manufacturers and the devices that they make. That's their job. That is their role. And they do not regulate physicians. However, in their pre-market approval agreements, the FDA told each manufacturer that they had to give proper informed consent information, i.e. a patient decision checklist and information booklet. And patients weren't getting that. We did a survey in 2020. Over 5,000 women answered our survey. And we asked how many women got the information booklet, the patient information. 86% of women were never given proper information.
Oh my God. Ashley, you first. Did you get informed consent? Did the doctor do a pretty good job about, hey, risks and benefits on that?
No, I honestly just got the bada bing, bada boom.
Wow, that is really scary. Robyn, did you get the bada bing, bada boom?
I did not. I did get a outdated patient informed consent, formed by my doctor. Most of it was like cervical complications. And I will say that I went back and looked. I got all my records and I did initial off on some of the things. But I consider myself pretty health literate just because I've been through a lot of health complications, having cancer 3 times. But, if you take into account the average young woman who's healthy, doesn't have any problems medically, typically they don't know what things like fibromyalgia, connective tissue disease, lupus, Hashimoto's, they've never heard those terms. They don't even know what they are. So they just sign their initials and move on and go and have their surgery. But where my situation kind of fell apart is when I started having complications, I went back to my surgeon and I was telling her all the problems I was having. I had a rash all over my chest, all over my legs. I was having heart palpitations. I had really bad insomnia. And she never once told me, you might be having a reaction to your implants. Wow. Instead, she gave me pills. She gave me sleeping pills, pain pills, muscle relaxers, gabapentin.
That's scary.
And, I'm looking at all these pills going, this isn't the answer.
Yeah.
Something else is going on here. So I didn't take any of the pills. And it wasn't really until I found the BII community that I understood what was truly going on in my body. It was literally being poisoned.
So who saved you? So for Ashley, she was communicating over social media and someone like, hey, did you think about this? Who gave you the guiding light? What was that epiphany moment?
That was my angel, Michelle. And I met her in a breast cancer online support group. And her story is so intriguing. She used to work for a plastic surgeon. had 3 sets of implants because she worked for a plastic surgeon. And she had breast implants for 12 years. 8 of those years, she was deathly sick. And I mean, it got to the point where she was unable to work. She couldn't be a mom to her kids. And she saw a story on Crystal Hefner, who's Hugh Hefner's wife, the Playboy.
Oh, yeah, it sounded familiar.
She did a news story about her breast implants poisoning her. And her story was, she called the plastic surgeon the next day and said, I want my implants out. He said, okay. And she went in to get an MRI to make sure they weren't ruptured. And they found a mass. And she actually had breast cancer.
Oh, God.
So here she thought she was just going in for an explant.
Yeah.
Like, well, do a double mastectomy and don't do reconstruction because I don't want those back in my body. So when I met her in this breast cancer group, she told me that she was sick from her implants. And when I said, sick, what do you mean sick? Every single symptom that she told me she had, I checked almost every box. Yeah, wow. She was in knight in shining armor.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to actually on these ones because I want to, build up this No Bogies for next year. It sucks. I missed it. I didn't realize it was October. You know what I mean? I missed the No Bogies get together. How can people reach the No Bogies Foundation? We'll put information on our podcast and everything, but can you kind of let our listeners know?
Yeah, so you can reach us at our website, the No Double Bogies Foundation.com, or you can go to our Instagram, which is the same thing, the No Double Bogies Foundation. And we also have another Instagram, the No Double Bogies Golf Tournament. So any 3 of those, you'll find me. So I respond pretty quick.
And are you switching the location for the event every year, or how do you do that?
Well, and I've been asked to go different locations, and I think I actually just had a meeting today. I think we want to do Vegas in October and then do it in California in June. So we might do 2 this year. Women want us.
When you say if it's Southern California, I'm definitely going to make a guest appearance. There's no question.
Oh, we'd love to have you.
All right, let me go back to Robyn on this, and I have a closing question for both of you. Back to the FDA. We're not going to let them off the hook just yet. So how can our listeners, or how can people urge the FDA to issue a healthcare provider letter to all medical professionals to alert the medical community about the recent breast implant safety updates? And can you tell us what some of these updates are too?
Yes. The updates we've been asking them for are basically the announcement that they came out with last year about the cancers, multiple cancers that are caused by breast implants. And we want all healthcare professionals to know how to look for, treat, and diagnose these cancers. They're being called rare right now, but we don't know what we don't know, and people aren't really looking for them. So when women are going in and having explant surgery, a lot of the plastic surgeons, a lot of the pathologists, they're not even aware of how to properly test for these cancers. The most recent one that they're talking about, this squamous cell carcinoma, and I want to be clear, a lot of people know squamous cell carcinoma as a skin cancer, right? We have basal cell, squamous cell, melanoma. Squamous cell skin cancer is very treatable. This is similar to that in that it's an epithelial cancer. However, when it forms in the breast implant capsule, it is highly aggressive. It metastasizes outside of the capsule. It loves to metastasize into your bones, your ribs, your sternum. One woman had it spread into her heart. And so it's a very quick spreading cancer. And unfortunately, it doesn't respond to chemotherapy or radiation.
That stinks.
So if we don't catch this cancer quickly, 50% of patients are dead within 6 months of being diagnosed. And that's unacceptable. And the fact that the FDA is not requiring manufacturers to alert not only patients, but the FDA alerting medical practitioners about this, they are hindering a timely diagnosis and treatment for patients and possibly causing severe harm or even death.
Yeah, that's scary. I'm going to throw an extra question for both of you just because I want to. Ashley, so if I heard correctly during our interview, you got the explant, and are you healed 100%? Are you still having symptoms? And how long did it take you since the explant to start noticing improvement?
Once I had the surgery and they were out, I could breathe again. I felt like I could breathe and everything was, pretty good. I'd say I'm about 85.9% better than it was. There's still a lot of things that connect to tissue, digestive issues. Ringing in the ear is way less. Like I used to want to smash my head into a wall, and now it's just kind of light.
Yeah.
I had so many symptoms lift up. It was remarkable.
Robyn, I think I heard the opposite. So you had the explant pretty damn quick. And did your symptoms get better quickly? And do you have any symptoms still?
I have no symptoms. Mine went away literally the second I woke up from surgery. And just like Ashley, the first thing I noticed is I could breathe. I could take a deep breath, because I had 500 cc's on each side, silicone just sitting on top of my lungs, literally crushing my rib cage.
Wait, 500 mLs, like half a liter?
On each side, 500 cc's.
I have to ask a question. See, this is when you start getting into so did you check off the box that said I want 500 mLs? Like,
oh, honey, no, this is a bad story. The funny thing about my story, I was very accepting of my breast cancer diagnosis. I was very businesslike, like I'm going to do a double mastectomy. I have kind of a dark sense of humor anyway. So I had huge my whole life.
Yeah.
I was a double D.
Yeah.
So I was actually excited about getting rid of my breasts, because they were so I'm not a big girl. I'm 5'4", and I had these big double Ds that I spent my whole life trying to cover up and hide. So the one silver lining for me was I get small, perky little boobs, right?
All right.
So what's interesting is I told my surgeon, to the point of literally beating her over the head with it, that I wanted to be, in my words, I said, a full A cup, small sporty B cup.
Sure.
And I got double Ds right back on me. And it was horrifying because they were so heavy, so uncomfortable, so big.
Oh.
And she thought they looked good on my frame. So you had to say about that? Yeah.
Ashley, so similar story about the shortness of breath. Is it a gravity thing that you now have just a lot of extra weight sitting on the chest wall when you're trying to breathe? And what ml size did you win or pick or choose?
So I go at 5'25", but I'm 6 feet tall. I'm a lot tighter.
You're 6 feet tall? It doesn't show justice when we're doing this.
He said I can hold a lot. And he actually wanted to go bigger. And I said no, because I was so paranoid about my golf swing. I was like, no, I want to be able to take the club back. He went, I think I agreed to 425 or 450. I can't remember. And he went to 525.
So my question, because I'm very naive, so both of you forgive me. If you had the pre-op talk, hey, let's go around 425, how do you end up with extra? Is it a on-the-fly decision, or what happens?
They know better, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah. They always say girls always want to go bigger. You always hear that. You're not going to like it. You're going to come back and want to get them redone. I don't know what it is with that, because it's
they all say it.
They all say it. It's weird.
It's pretty freaking weird. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let me ask both of you this. I'm going to go with Robyn first, and then you guys got the same question. I want to end it on the same note, So Robyn, for you, what's the healing process of, breast implant, illness and explant surgery for you?
For me, I was very blessed that literally just explanting and having them removed gave me my life back. I chose to turn that mess into my message. And I know a lot of women that are still sick, or they're struggling right now. They can't afford their explant, which is why I tag team with Ashley and want to help women to provide services, whatever they need, or even get them an explant surgery covered. So for me, that is healing, right? Helping other women to regain their health the way Ashley and I have. And that's what brings me joy and gratification. And everything else is ancillary. I mean, it's definitely necessary. I'm totally into changing policies, passing legislation, getting FDA, awareness out there. But at the end of the day, I can't speak for Ashley, but I know her heart. We're in this to help the women. And that's what's important, because we've been there. We know what a deep, dark place it is to be in. And if we can be a lifeline for these women and help them to not have to suffer the way we did, we're happy to do it.
That's an awesome answer. That was amazing. Ashley, what about you? What's the healing process for you for both the breast implant illness and the explant itself?
It's a lot of patience. I literally thought I was going to have them out and be ready to go. And that wasn't the case. And to be, gentle with yourself, because it's a really curvy road. It's I made a lot of mistakes on my healing journey. And that's part of I always say, when I figure out how to heal this, I'm going to let everybody know, not that there's one way, because the body's so different, but at least I can give women a good direction. I was all over the place. I've talked to so many holistic, functional medicine, homeopathic, scientists. Like, I am obsessed with trying to find out how to make the body go back to normal after this disaster. And I think also doing the tournaments have been healing, like Robyn said, like helping people and working with children. And I work with a lot of young girls. And that was like, they saw me get sick. And I just, told every parent, and they knew that I plummeted. And I just couldn't imagine any of those kids I've taught for, 14 years would ever do this to them and suffer, because they're like kids to me. So it was important for me to get the message out.
Well, I'll say this. I'm a little sad that the interview is over, because you two are just two awesome women. And I love that you're not exactly the same personality. You're kind of opposites in a weird way. But I love that about both of you. You guys are great. And thank you so much, Ashley and Robyn, for being on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, everyone. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dr. Raj podcast. We had two amazing guests. We raised awareness about a disease that needed to be spoken about, with this breast implant illness. We'll put all their information and amazing stories on our show notes, and stay tuned again in 2 weeks for the next episode of the Dr. Raj podcast.
Thanks for listening. This has been a production of Ars Longa Media. Our producers are Madison Linden and Chris Brightigan. Our executive producer is Dr. Patrick Beeman. This podcast is for educational purposes only and not intended for medical advice. Ars Longa, Vita Brevis.